Today, finally, I will present you the 5 elements calendar. I've been working on this project for the last 15 years. It was my passion, it was my mission, and now finally it's ready to be presented to the world. The 5 elements calendar is based on the concept of the 5 elements of nature, but it is also in alignment with nature because it is following the sun and the moon. And there are 2 calendars inside. One is following the sun, it's a solar calendar, it's following the seasons. And one it's a lunar calendar, it's following the moon cycle, the moon phases. But let me first tell you why I created this new calendar. Because our calendar, that it's official for the whole world, that we call Gregorian calendar, it's really absurd. It all started when I realized that our calendar, it's a solar calendar, it's following the sun, the seasons, but it's not in alignment with seasons. For example, the solstices and equinoxes are the markers of seasons. This is how we calculate 1 year, from one solstice again to the same solstice, or from equinox to the equinox. And what is absurd that, for example, we have those months, January, February, so the solstice does not fall on the 1st of January or 1st of April or 1st of July. No, it's following on 21st of December, for example, March, June and September. I am in Rovinj, in my hometown, and this is one of my favorite beach. I call it Sunset Beach because you can see sunset on the ocean, on the sea, throughout the year, every day. The position of the sunset those days is close to the solstice. The summer solstice is the longest day of the year and the sun is setting there. On the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the sun is setting over there, just a little bit left of that island. And during the equinox, it's in the middle. So from here you can observe sunsets all year around, and actually because we have those markers with these 2 islands that are almost perfectly matching with the solstices, and this is a perfect place if you want to follow the sun and count days so you can create calendars. I'm sure that here probably in ancient time people would build a temple dedicated to the sun. When I realized that we are celebrating New Year, that it's the beginning of our calendar, it's New Year and it is not in alignment with solstice, it is 10-11 days after the solstice, I start to investigate this. Why is that so? I thought that there is a reason, but actually it's not. It's really absurd because nothing happened 10 days after the winter solstice. So then I thought, well, it's easy, we just need to correct our calendar for 10-11 days to be in alignment with seasons, with solstices and equinoxes. But then I thought, well, if we do that, maybe we can also change the names of the months in our calendar, because January, February, May, March, April, June, those names belong to ancient Roman culture. Those are names dedicated to gods that do not exist anymore. So they are not relevant for the whole world. And then the months July and August are named after Emperor Julius Caesar and Emperor August. So they are also not relevant. Those empires doesn't even exist anymore. And then even more absurd is the months September, October, November and December. These are the names of those months represent numbers. September's represent 7 in the Latin language. But it's not the month number 7, it's number 9, right? So October means 8, November means 9, and December means 10, but they are not following those order. So this is really absurd and even confusing if you know some Latin language like Italian, like Spanish. So then I thought, if we change the name of the months, well, actually the name months means moon, it's coming from the moon, but those months are not following the moon, so it doesn't make any sense. We also should change this. And then I thought, what about the numbers? Each month has 30, 31, 30, 31, and then 31, 31. So it is a little bit confusing and it's hard to count those months. Can also this be adjusted? Well, yes, it can be. And then I thought, what about weeks? The 7th day of the weeks. What is this following in nature? Actually, it doesn't follow anything. It was designed probably to follow the moon because 4 weeks are almost like the moon cycle, but it's not exactly. And if it is not exactly, then they are not following the moon cycle. Can this be adjusted? Yes, it can be adjusted so that the weeks are really following the moon cycle. So we actually use 2 calendars in daily life. We use the Gregorian calendar, which is official for the whole world. For example, now it's going to be solstice, so that means the 21st of June, right? This is the solar calendar, the Gregorian calendar. And we also use week calendar, which is 7-day long calendar, and it's repeating. But guess what? If you want to know when it's going to be the full moon or the new moon, or you want to follow the moon phases, you cannot use these 2 calendars. You need a 3rd calendar, which astronomers have calculations, and then they will tell you, okay, the next full moon will be exactly on that day, right? So we need a 3rd calendar to know the moon phases, which is absurd, because if we adjust the 7-day week calendar to follow moon phases, then we will not need 3 calendars. We only need these 2, the solar and the lunar, or the weekly calendar. But of course, this is just the problem of the Western world, because we don't have a lunar calendar. But all the Eastern world, like Jewish calendar, Hindu calendar, Chinese calendar, they are all lunisolar calendar. And that means that their traditional calendar is following the moon phases, and they know always when it's going to be the full moon or a new moon. So instead of using any traditional calendar that it's linked to one culture, we can create a new lunar calendar, and we can create it out from this one that we already use, the weekly calendar. We just need to add 1.5 days in this 4-week calendar, which I will explain you later. So let me now present you this 5 elements calendar, because it is very simple, it's very beautiful, it's relevant to the whole world because it's related to the elements of nature, and it is in alignment with seasons and with lunar cycles. This is just a layout of this calendar, so let me present you step by step. What is really beautiful about nature is that both sun and moon cycles can be divided into 4 quartals. In case of the sun cycle, these are 4 seasons divided by solstices and equinoxes. And in case of the moon cycle, these are 4 stages or phases, as we call them, and these are divided by the new moon, first quarter, full moon, and the last quarter. So each of these 4 stages or 4 quartals we will dedicate to one of the 4 elements: fire, water, air, and earth. And the 5th element, space or spirit, is actually always and everywhere, because it is the time and space, but especially in between the other elements. So the 5th element is between those quartals. But now let's first present the solar calendar. Now, the solar calendar is divided by 4 seasons, like winter, spring, autumn, and summer, but we will not call them like this. We will call them fire solar season, water solar season, air solar season, and earth solar season, or shorter fire sol, water sol, air sol, and earth sol. And these are starting with the solstices and equinoxes. So the fire solar season starts with fire solstice. Water sol start with water equinox, air sol with air solstice, and earth sol with earth equinox. So in this way we will not be confused whether it's winter or summer, because these are not equal for the northern and southern hemisphere. It's the opposite. And also when we say the summer solstice or the winter solstice, it is confusing when it is, because it's not the same on the north and the south hemisphere. But this will be the same everywhere. So we will know of which solstice we are talking about, or which equinox. So the new year, the starting point of the calendar, is on the fire solstice, because the fire season is the first season. So the new year will be on the winter solstice on the northern hemisphere. Why? Some people will say, why not the spring equinox? Because in the spring, you know, everything is coming alive, the nature is coming alive after the winter. And the reason because why this is not appropriate is because it's not the same on the northern and southern hemisphere. When the spring is on the northern hemisphere, then in the same time autumn is on the southern hemisphere. So what makes this solstice more special than every other solstice on equinoxes is because the Earth is going around the Sun in the elliptical shape orbit, and when it comes close to the solstice in the December, let's call it December solstice for now. So when it comes close to the fire solstice, or like this, then it is the shortest distance to the Sun. Actually, it's like 10-15 days after, but this solstice is the closest to the Sun. The Earth is the closest to the Sun on this solstice than on every other solstice or equinox. So this is why we can choose this one to be the starting point of the new year, of the calendar. So how many days have each of these seasons? Well, first we need to know how many days have one solar year. So one solar year has 365 days plus 5 hours, 48 minutes and 46 seconds. So because of this 5 hours, almost 6 hours extra, we need to add every 4 years, or let's say almost every 4 years, we need to add another extra day, and we do that in the end of February, right? So, but let's say in general it's 365 days on a normal regular year. So the 365 cannot be divided into 4, but the 364 can be divided into 4, and this is 91 days each quartal. So 91 days for each solar season. And this one extra day, one day that is missing, we will add here in the beginning of the year, and we will just call it a New Year's Day. But here we need to understand one thing, and that is that the seasons are not equal length. So autumn and winter are few days shorter than spring and summer. And because of that, the year cannot be divided into exactly equal 4 quartals, and in the same time that they follow solstices and equinoxes as more accurate as possible. So for this reason, in the 5 elements calendar, the equinox will not fall exactly on the first day of the quartals. It will be 2 to 3 days off. But this is still okay, because 3 days in reality it seems like the sun is staying in the same position. And actually, when you observe solstices and equinoxes, the sunset or sunrises, you will not see much changes during those 3 days. And traditionally, people were always celebrating solstices and equinoxes at least 3 days, 3 to 5 days. So in the 5 elements calendar, the solstices will be almost exactly, it will be only 1 day vary, but the equinoxes will vary 2 to 3 days. And this is because the 5 elements calendar choose to follow a balanced structure, a symmetry. it chose to have a symmetry rather than precision. You cannot have absolute precision in following solstices and equinoxes. They will always vary one day at least here and there. If you observe from astronomical perspective, because the exact solstice or the exact equinox, it's really in a minute, not in a day, in a minute. And it is always varying because the year is not 365 days, but it is 5 hours, 48 minutes and 46 seconds longer. Now, each of these seasons can be divided into 3 parts: beginning, middle and end. This is how we usually use in our language. We use like beginning of summer, middle summer, end of summer, right? So we also will give a name, not just beginning, middle and end. We will give the name that it's related to the elements of nature. But first, let's see how many days have each of these part of the season, which we will call solars, right? So each solar season has 3 solars. In total, there are 12 solars. So you might think that this is the same like month. Yes, but we cannot call them months because they are not following the moon. Actually, January, February, March, April, they are not following moon phases, so they shouldn't be called month. This name was from the ancient time when those months really was following the moon. And they were following the moon when they had 29 and 30 days each, 29, 30, 29, 30, right? But now they have 30, 31, 30, 31, so they don't follow the moon anymore, the moon cycle, so they shouldn't be called month. So these one also do not follow the moon cycles because each one has 30 days. And 30, it's not following the moon cycles because the moon cycle, it's 29 and a half day. Okay? So these are solars. So each season has 3 solars of each one 30 days. Very simple to remember, right? 30 days each. Very beautiful. Also ancient Egyptians did that. But if you calculate 30 by 12, multiplied by 12, then it's 360 days. So 5 days are missing. So these 5 days, for example, ancient Egyptians added these 5 extra days in the end of the year, and they dedicate those days to gods. But if you do that, then it will not be symmetry, and not the seasons will not start on the solstices and equinoxes. So we're gonna add these 5 extra days. We're gonna split. We're gonna add to each season 1 extra day, and then 1 day for the New Year's Day. These are the 5 extra days. So the fire solar season, for example, has 3 solars of 30 days, and the fire solstice will be the day 0. So in total, it will have 91 days, but each solar has 30 days, right? So each solar season will start with the day 0, and this will be the name, like fire solstice, water equinox, air solstice day, and earth equinox day, and the New Year's Day. So here is there gonna be 2 extra days. So these are the 5 extra days. And of course, every 4 years we need to add a leap day, because the same thing we do today with the Gregorian calendar. In this way, we are always in alignment with, or let's say we correct the calendar when it's shifting too much from the solstices and equinoxes. We use the same system as the Gregorian calendar. That means to adding every 4 years 1 day, and this day is not going to be added in the end of year or in the end of February, because there is no February, but it's going to be added on the air solstice, so on the opposite side of the beginning of the year, so that the year is more balanced in that sense. Of course, we know from the Gregorian calendar that in a 400 years period we need to skip 3 times to add this day. In the year of 100, 200 and 300 we skip to adding this extra day, but on the year 400 we add. And now the names of those solars. So because there are 3 solars for each season, so that means 3 solars for each element, so we will extract the names from the nature that are representing that element. So 3 solars for each of the 4 elements. So the fire element has 3 solars, but they will not be here in the fire season, because then it will be too much of fire in that season. So they're gonna spread in the other season. So one in the water season, one in the air season, and one in the earth season. And these names are spark, flame, and light. These are manifestations of fire. And we will call them spark solar or spark soul, flame soul, light soul. And the same for the water element. So the water element has 3 solars. One is rain, river, and ocean. We call them rain soul, river soul, and ocean soul. The air element has also 3 solars: breeze, wind, and cloud. Some people might say, wait a minute, cloud, it's not air. Well, actually it is. 99% of clouds is air. Only less than 1% is water. And then we have earth element, which is 3 solars dedicated to earth element: soil, rock, and ore. We call them soil soul, rock soul, and ore soul. In this way, we have a beautiful balance and symmetry in the whole calendar. And each season has all the 5 elements. For example, fire solar season has 1 water solar, 1 air solar, 1 earth solar, and it has a fire, of course, for the whole season, and the solstice, which represent the 5th element, even though it's called fire solstice, because every solstice or equinox is dedicated to one of the 4 elements, but it is representing the spirit, the space element, because, as we said before, the 5th element is always in between. So in this way, one solar season has all the 5 elements. Now the order of these 12 solars, soil, wind, ocean, spark, rock, cloud, rain, flame, ore, breeze, river, light, the order of the elements, because this is earth, air, water, and so on. So the order, it's the same like the order of the elements in the solar seasons: fire, water, air, and earth. But in the opposite direction: fire, water, air, earth, fire, water, air, earth, fire, water, air, earth. Why is it in the opposite? Why it's not in the same direction? Because only in the opposite direction they can fit that every season has all the 4 elements or the 5 elements. Now, if you know astrology, then maybe you notice that the order of the elements in the solars, in the 12 solars, it's matching to the order in the zodiac sign, the 12 zodiac sign, because each sign represents 1 element. But if you know astrology a little bit more, then you know that also the names of the zodiac signs are wrong. They are not matching to reality anymore. I will explain this in another video, but here I want to tell you just that this 5 elements calendar has more sense than the zodiac right now, because according to the 5 elements calendar, in the solar in which you were born will match to your element. So this is the 5 elements solar calendar. This is without any words, it's just symbols. I like symbols because if it needs to be understandable for the whole world, even though if somebody doesn't know English, for example. So these are the symbols of the solars, like for more or less like we see them in nature. And I will also explain you now the symbols of this fire, water, air, and earth. This is the logic of this is the number of the corners. fire has one corner, water two corners, air three corners, earth four corners. Actually, when we light a fire, we see that it has a shape of the cone, one with one corner. Water doesn't have shape in nature, but when we take with hands or in most cases in cups, it has this shape of two corners. Then the air also in nature doesn't have a shape, but we need at least three corners to catch the air. That's why sails are designed with at least three corners. And then the earth, which is the most stable structure, usually it's used with four corners like bricks to build stable structure, so it's representing earth. These symbols you can find in the chakras and in the Buddhism with a little bit difference, because Buddhism is also different from the Tantric tradition, but I explain all those in another video. But this is the logic. So because of number of the corners representing numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, this is why this is the order. And because the fire solstice is the first one, because it's closest to the sun, so this is why is this order of the elements in the calendar. And the symbol of the sun and moon, which is in the center, is kind of logo of this calendar. You can see two things in this symbol. First of all, you can see that it's different. The sun, it's actually the white part, even though it's remind us of the moon, right? But no, it's the sun, and this is the moon. Why? Because when this happens in nature, when the moon comes in front of the sun, it's called eclipse, then this is the moon. It cannot be the opposite. So every symbol of alchemy or any symbol of sun and moon that you will see is similar to this one, you will see the opposite. So actually they don't represent the real nature, how looks in real nature. The other thing that is interesting about this symbol is that the shape of the five senses is the same shape of these symbols. And each of the five senses belong to one of those five elements that are representing in this design. But I will talk about that another time. And now let's see the lunar calendar. So we already talked about that the lunar cycle, it's also divided into 4 quartals and divided by the new moon, full moon, the first quarter, which we call young moon, and the last quarter we called old moon. Because this is the new moon, like born, the new moon is the moment when we don't see the moon because it's very close to the sun. For example, when the moon comes in front of the sun like this, it covers the sun, it's eclipse, and then here, this is the picture, right? But it's not happen every time. It happens, the moon, mostly it's passing very close to the sun, like here or here. So this is why we don't see eclipse every month. But when it comes close to the sun, we don't see it because it's too bright from the sun. This is why we call that, this is the new moon. This is why we call that the month starting, because it's the birth of the moon. So now the question is, how many days have 1 month? Well, we already talked about that. It has 29.5 days. So if you want to create a calendar that is following the moon phases, then 1 month needs to have 29 days, this we call short month, and 1 month 30 days. So every second month, so they are following each other, like alternating. One has 29, 1, 30, 29, 30, 29, 30, and in this way they will always be in alignment with the phases, the moon phases. And for example, if you start to count the month from the new moon, which we do, then every month will start on the new moon. It can vary 1 day here and there, same like solstices and equinoxes, but approximately it will start on the exact new moon. So how many days it's from the new moon to the young moon? It is approximately 7 days. It is a little bit more than 7 days. So 1 moon cycle has 4 weeks. This is 28 days. Plus, we need to add 1 day to be 29 in the short month and 2 days in the big month to have 30 days. So 4 weeks plus 1 day, and the next month is 4 weeks plus 2 days. So the short month has 1 day extra, and this is added in the beginning of the month. It will be called Sun Moon Day. Why Sun Moon Day? Because this is the moment when the moon gets close to the sun. So it's a Sun Moon Day. So this is in the beginning of the month. This is not into one of those 4 weeks. And then we have 4 weeks. The first week is dedicated to fire. We give the name Agni because Agni is the Indian god of fire. Then the second week it's called Mazu, it's dedicated to water because it is the Chinese goddess of water. Then the third week is Air Week, which we will name Quetzalcoatl, which is the god that represents many things in Mesoamerican cultures, but one of the things that represent is the air. Interesting. And the fourth week is the Earth Week, and we call it Pachamama, and that is from South American continent, like Incas, and it representing the earth, the goddess of the earth. And then the following month, it's a big month. It has 30 days, right? So it has also the Sun Moon Day in the beginning of the month. So every month starts with the Sun Moon Day. And then it has 4 weeks, but here we also add, at the full moon, we add another extra day. We call it Big Moon Day, okay? So the first week is fire. The name is Ra, because Ra is the god of the sun, which is fire in Egyptian culture. The second week is water, Uturna, dedicated to the goddess of the water in Roman culture. The third week is air. It's the god Enlil. Middle East, let's say Sumerian, Babylonian culture, their god of the air, it's called Enlil. So between the Uturna and Enlil, there is the big moon day, right? And then the fourth week is the earth, which we call Gaia, and that is the Greek goddess of earth. So in this way, by giving the names to those weeks, we have 8 weeks in total because we have 2 months, one short and one big. We covered almost all ancient big culture, big civilizations. Because it is a calendar that is relevant and related to the whole world, those names are from almost all the parts of the world. But you also don't need to give the name from the mythology. You can just say the fire week, water week, air week, and earth week. But you also need to say if it is in a big month or short month. So the fire week is in a short month, or the fire week in a big month. It's different because we add the big moon day, we add only in the big month, right? But if you say which week by the name, then you don't need to say if it is a short or big month, because then you will know. And finally, we have the days of the week, right? There are 7 days of the week, same like now. It's just that they are dedicated to the 5 elements of nature. So we have every week start with the moon day. Today we have Monday, right? Which was moon day. It starts with moon day and end with Sunday, which we will call Sol Day, not Sunday, so that we don't get confused with the old weekly calendar. In the same way, like Monday, we call now Moon Day. But in between, there are 5 elements. So the first one is, or let's say after the Moon Day, it's the Ether Day, which is the 5th element, Ether. Then Air Day, Fire Day, Water Day, Earth Day. Those are the symbols like here. Why in this order? Because this is the order of the elements in nature if you observe like vertically from above to below. It's actually sun it's on the highest in the sky, on the highest position, then it's moon below, and then it's space in between. Then there is air, which is the atmosphere, right? Then it's fire, tends to go up. Then it's water, tends to go down. Then it's earth, always below the water. And then the last one is the sun. So it starts with Monday, it's end up with Sunday, but they don't need to have like first day. Like moon day is the first day, but you don't need to say that it's the first day, because it doesn't make any sense to say which day of the week is first. Like today also, some people consider Monday first day, some people consider Sunday the first day. It doesn't matter because they have names, and the numbers are related to the solar calendar, and to the lunar calendar the names are important, so it doesn't matter. However, the order of the elements in a week, it's not only in alignment with like in nature, but also it is the same order like we have in chakras. If you start with the sun, moon, like sol day, moon day, and then the 5 elements. And you know what is interesting is that our week today, like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, are related, those names are related to the planets, to the sun and moon and the 5 planets visible with the naked eye. But guess what? Those planets, according to astrology, have certain characteristics, and they actually have the characteristics of the 5 elements of nature. 5 planets visible with the naked eye have the characteristics of the 5 elements of nature. So here we don't relate to the planets, but directly to the elements of nature. And what is the most beautiful thing about this calendar is that every week starts with the moon day, and every moon day is starting approximately on the moon phases. So, for example, the week of fire starts with the new moon day. We can even call it new moon day. This is a new moon, and this is the new moon day after the sun moon day, right? Then the week of water starts with the young moon day. The week of air starts with a full moon day. This is a big moon day, right? And this is the full moon day. And then the week of earth starts with the old moon day. And this is nice because then you will know when are those phases, because you know when will be moon day, right? So you don't need a third calendar to tell you when it's gonna be a full moon, for example, on the full moon day. The first day of the month is the sun moon day, which happened between the sol day and new moon day. So this is the sun and moon calendar, the 5 elements calendar. It's the layout, it's like this, even though this is the moon and this is the sun, they are not related, right? They don't follow, they are not in alignment with each other, right? So this is just the layout. So I hope you like this calendar. I hope you will use it, and then we can slowly change the world calendar, the Gregorian calendar that is today, because it's absurd. And how we can change this calendar? It is not possible just to go to ISO organization and says, oh, we have a better calendar. They will say, yes, 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 but we cannot change it. But what we can do, we start to use this calendar. How we can start to use this calendar? By using the calendar to improve our life. I mean, for some people, they can use it just to follow like normal calendar, to follow sun and moon cycles, and to have a calendar that has much sense, that is related to the whole world, that has much sense that the Gregorian calendar. But the beauty of this calendar is that you can use it to self-improvement process. It can be a tool to help you. How? By dedicate those time to those elements, because we are made of the same elements, and our thoughts, words, feelings, and deeds are made of those elements, belong to those elements. So by working on our thoughts, words, feelings, and deeds, using this concept of the 5 elements of nature, we can actually improve the quality of our life. But this this is my main topic. I'm teaching about the 5 elements of nature in the last 15 years. And I will talk about this again and again in other videos, but just that you know that you can use it. You can create your own program according to this calendar to use this wisdom, or you can follow my program, join me, and I show you how it can be done. And now the question is, do you like this new calendar? And of course you will agree probably that it makes much more sense than the Gregorian calendar. But how can we change it? How can we replace this calendar? Even if we want to, well, easily. We just need to start to use the new calendar, because many people in the world are using more than 2 calendars already. And the beauty of this calendar, the 5 elements calendar, is that you can use it for multiple purposes. You can use it as to track the solstices and equinoxes, to track the sun. You can use it to track the moon. You can use it like astrology. You can use it like numerology. You can use it also to work on yourself, to balance your 5 elements, because it can be a tool for self-improvement. And of course, how you can do that, I will show you in another video. You can find already the link below this one. I hope you like this idea. I hope it is worth for sharing, and I hope it is worth to change this calendar and to give a new calendar, a new beginning to the New Age world.